Hello and welcome to my first tutorial ever. My name is Dominik, I'm from Austria and I'm the newest member of Intergalactic Fabricate, a company based in Australia. You might want to check their webpage on intergalacticfabricate.com.au, maybe also on Facebook or on Twitter. We will be creating something. I'm very excited about it. It's a video I found a while ago on VMO, and it looks something like this. Okay, so this is what we will be creating. It will not be exactly the same. This would be probably impossible. But we will be create something similar, and we will use the same technique. So let's jump into Cinema 4D and maybe change the unit system to centimeters, because I'm working with centimeters. If you just started up Cinema 4D, you might want to change it right here, and you can also change it under Edit, Preferences, Units, and then Unit Display. So kilometers, meters, centimeters. And okay, let's get started. What you really need is the MoGraph module, so that's really essential for this whole tutorial. So let's create a mode text, and we wanna create a 4-letter word. So text might not be the one we are going for. So let's type in. Well, you can type in whatever you like to, but I will type in rage, and I will set the height to maybe 800. Okay, this looks perfect. And also change the depth a little bit to maybe, I don't know, let's say 300, something like that. Yeah, that looks okay to me. Okay, and we also want to change the font. You can take whatever font you like. So I will go for Astro 867, I think. You can easily download this font. Just Google it. It's a free font. So go for Astro 867 if you like to. Okay. So let's duplicate this text by simply hitting Control key and left mouse click, and then just drag and drop. Set this first text to invisible. Okay, perfect. And now hit the C key on your keyboard. So now it's editable. Hold down the Control key, left mouse click to let it pop up all at once. And now select the splines by holding down the Control key. So the E, G, A, and R. And now let's drop it above the whole thing. And delete the rest. We don't need it. Okay, this looks perfect. What we want to do now is create a spline. So let's take a spline, maybe a BCR. Go into front view mode by clicking the middle mouse button or the mouse wheel button and go to front view. And now just by holding down the Control key and by left click, you will create the first point and simply hold down the Control the Control key and then the second point, and third and fourth, fifth and the sixth point. Okay, doesn't need to be too perfect. We can change it later on anyway. So let's change the spline to maybe B-spline. Okay, so this looks okay. And now just select the points and keep on dragging them. This looks okay. Maybe this one too. Maybe we need another point here, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think we need another point. So simply do a right click, create point, and just a left click on the spline. And now we created another point. And this looks okay. This looks way better. Maybe a little bit backwards. Okay. Okay. This should be perfect. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to create a sweep NURBS. So let's go back to the perspective mode. Let's create a sweep NURBS. Here we go, sweep NURBS. And then also create a spline rub object. and we want to create a cloner object as well, and we want to create a rectangle. So let's create a rectangle, maybe change its height to maybe 300 and the width maybe to, I don't know, to maybe 130. Okay, and now let's take the rotation tool, hold down the shift key to enable snapping, rotate it for 90 degrees this way and 90 degrees this way, so it looks something like that. Okay, and now we want to duplicate the rectangle by holding down Control, left click, and simply drag and drop. Hit the C key, make it editable, and now we want to drop this into the sweep NURBS and the other rectangle above the spline rectangle and under the sweep NURBS. Okay, so now we have a big box, and this looks, well, not too cool. So we want to change the rectangle, the height maybe, yeah, okay, to something like that, maybe 90 centimeters, and the width to maybe, let's say, 10 centimeters. Okay, this should look okay. What we want to do now is drop the sweep NURBS into the cloner object and select the cloner object, click on objects, and then group objects, so it's in a null right now. Now take the spline ROP, drop it under the null above the cloner, and now we need the spline we just created, the middle spline, so we'll rename that to, I don't know, middle spline R. Okay, so let's select the spline ROP and drop the middle spline right here into the spline. Okay, and as you can see, the spline ROP tries to align the rectangles in the cloner and in the sweep NURBS object to this spline we just created, but not the right way. So we want to change the axis in the spline ROP to maybe Y. This doesn't look too good because we don't have enough clones right now. So let's go to the cloner object and increase the count. Okay, to maybe, I don't know, maybe 30. Okay, this looks okay to me. And we might also, okay, what's going on here? Okay. And now we maybe also wanna change, okay, the rotation tool is still selected. This is maybe not the best thing that can happen. So let's change that. Set it back to null. Null. Oh, here we go. Null and null. Okay, here we go. And as you see, the rectangles don't line up that perfectly as we want it. So we want to change the offset in the cloner object. So let's do that by decreasing the offset to maybe, I don't know, 47. What's the size? The height is 90. So maybe let's set it to 90. Let's set it to 90 right here. And here we go. Now they should line up perfectly, if I'm right. No, they're not. Okay, here we go. Here we go right now. 140. 130. Okay, this lines up perfect. Okay, and now we want to change the rectangle, the spline rectangle. So let's go into model mode again, and simply rotation tool and hold down the shift key to enabling the snapping. Okay, and now we can change the offset back to 90. Okay, and here we go. Now it's perfect. Now it's absolutely perfect. What we want to do next, we want to animate the sweep NURBS maybe. So be sure that you're on frame O. Control click on the red point right here, on the point right here, so the end grows, sets a keyframe. Set it to 0% and do another control click. Then we go to 60 frames and increase it to 100%. And do another control click, and another keyframe is set, and now we have a little animation here going on. This doesn't look too, yeah, like a really good animation, but it's okay. And another problem we have is that we have some steps here, and this is because of the poly count. so the poly count isn't really too high right now. So we want to go to the rectangle and change its intermediate points, maybe to subdivide it. And as you can see, it's already changing. Maybe lower this a little bit. Okay, maybe not. Let's have another look at this. Let's see the subdivisions. Okay, the subdivisions really increased a lot. So this is not where we want to go. This is really way too much. So let's change it again. The rectangle, maybe to 20, something like that. Okay, this looks okay. And maybe also increase the count right here to maybe 40. And now let's do a little test run again. Okay. This doesn't look too perfect. But we can play with this later on anyway, so we can think about the subdivisions later. Because we are creating a lot of, we are creating 4 letters. Really need to keep the poly count a little bit lower, otherwise the computer will freeze or will really be slowing down. So yeah. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to add a step effector. So go select the clone object, go MoGraph effector step effector, and now we want to change the step effector, the parameters, uncheck scale, go to the effector, change the gap to maybe 5. That really depends on you, as you wish. Okay. Nothing's happened. Why is that? Step effector. Oh, okay. And we also set a time offset in the parameters to maybe 60 frames. And as you can see, the animation has changed. And now you see a nice animation going on. Okay. We need to increase the frames of the whole animation to maybe 180 frames. So now this should work out better. Okay. Now we have the full animation. Okay, and as you can see in the video, they are closing from 2 sides. The rectangles are closing from 2 sides and on the front of the letter. So we will change that right now. Let's select the rectangle spline, go into point mode, and uncheck close spline. And okay, let's go back to model mode. Take the rotation tool and let's rotate it for maybe 180 degrees. Okay, so now it's closing on a different side. Okay, it's closing on the front of the letter, so this is perfect. This is exactly what we want. And also change the points maybe a little bit. So let's go back to point mode and select those 2 points here. Take the move tool and maybe make it the half of the size right now. Maybe something like that. That looks okay. Okay, what we want to do next is we want to go back to model mode, close the null, and simply control click and duplicate the whole thing. Okay, and now we wanna change the rectangle of the copy. So take the rotation tool and rotate it for 180 degrees again. Okay. Now take the move tool and now try to line it up with the other rectangle. Something like that. So the animation fits. Okay, this doesn't look too perfect. We need to change it a little bit more. Maybe to here. Still not perfect. Maybe a little more. Yeah, this should be perfect. Okay, this looks perfect. Let's see a test render. If we're getting any issues. No, we're not. This is simply perfect. Okay, so we have our little animation right here. And I will take a short break right now. And I will explain the rest to you in just a second. Hey you guys, I'm back from my break and I just found a little problem. As you can see here when I'm animating this, the gaps of the rectangle don't really stay in place, and this is because of the subdivisions and also because we're using a linear spline. So what we can do is select both rectangles and change the mode from subdivided to maybe uniform, and then just increase it to maybe 22 or something like that. Here we go. And now you see it has changed, maybe even a little bit more. Let's see, maybe 24. Let's do it 24. This looks perfect now. It does not here at all. I'm decreasing it again to 22. Yeah, we should stay with 22. 22 looks perfect. Okay, so this is it. And now we are doing the rest of the animation, and this is really the interesting part. So select the both rectangle splines, go into point mode, and as you can see, there is this little button down here, and it's deactivated when you start up Cinema 4D, and it says turn on or off point level animation. And this is what we really need. We need the point level animation. So we click on this button. Now it's activated, and we set, let's say, on frame 60 a keyframe right here. This says record position, scale, rotation, and PLA, and PLA is the point level animation, so this is what we need. So we set a keyframe here by clicking this button, and now we go back maybe to, I don't know, frame 30, and now we will animate these little points here. So let's select them, select the scale tool, and now we just scale them in a little bit and scale them here a little bit. Okay, and you can see the animation already changes. And now set another keyframe. Okay, so now we have our spline animation, and here we go. And as you can see, we have a little bit more movement here now, and we still have a problem here, as I can't see. Okay, this doesn't look too good here. What's going on? This is maybe because of the subdivisions again. So maybe we change that to 24, not 23. Here we go. Let's say 21. Maybe this is perfect. Now we have here the problem again. I don't know what to do about these caps. This really sucks a lot. It's really not nice. Okay, let's try the 26. It seems to be okay in front. Is it also okay in the back? No, it's not. It's still... What's going on here? What's going on here? If you render this doesn't look too good. It's just for one frame, but this frame is enough. Just wanna make it perfect. Let's maybe change it from to subdivided and change this a little bit more. Okay. Really having a problem here. I don't know why. Okay, maybe leave it at uniform 26 or 22. Let's change it back to 22 and select the sweep NURBS and activate parallel movement. So we should get rid of this. Yeah, that looks okay. Now let's see the animation. Okay, now we have a problem here. Oh, please, another problem. This would be okay. Yeah, we have a problem here now. Okay, so let's deactivate parallel movement. Maybe deactivate constant cross section. So maybe it's looking better now. Yeah, here we go. Now it should be okay. Yeah. That's it. That's it. No problem anymore. Really no problem anymore. Okay, another thing we can do, and you can animate those splines in a different way. As I just did, you can do whatever you like. You can also change the type to B-spline. They probably took a B-spline on this animation because of those curves the rectangles are doing, and then are fitting together. As you can see, those little curves here. So they're probably using a B-spline or something like that with a lot of points. So they look like they are linear, but they are B-splines. Okay, what can we do now? What we will do now? This doesn't look too smooth already, and talked about it before, the subdivisions. So what we can do is take the spline we created, the middle spline, and change it from adaptive to maybe uniform mode, and maybe add some numbers here. And as you can see, it gets smoother and smoother as we change the number here, and this should look okay now. Yeah, this should be okay. Still not too perfect, but you can play around with these numbers as much as you like. Just try to keep the poly count as low as you can, so your computer is not freezing or slowing down or something like that. So it's really, yeah, just playing around with the settings and try to yeah, keep the best settings. So I will leave it at, I don't know, where will I leave it? Maybe at natural, maybe at uniform. Let's take uniform, maybe at 10 or something like that. I think that looks okay. You can also change the rectangle subdivisions again, and maybe decrease this a little bit. Maybe this helps also, or increase it maybe. Who knows? Just keep playing around with this stuff. Okay, for me that looks okay. What we can do now is scale the whole thing a little bit up. So let's select those rectangles, go into model mode, select the scale tool, and scale the whole thing a little bit upwards. Okay, maybe just up. Okay, it's not doing anything. That wasn't up. Okay, that's not the one we want. Okay, so it's this one. So now we're scaling. Okay. And now it's much bigger, but still not big enough. Maybe a little bit more. Okay. Maybe here we go. Okay, that's still not big enough. Oh, okay. There is a problem. Because I said keyframes already here, the scaling is not working because I set keyframes, and as soon as the animation hits a keyframe, the scaling is overwritten. So this was really my fault. So what I can do is simply delete those keys. So I will just delete them, and now I can scale the whole thing a little bit. So let's scale again, and now it's really working. So here we go. This is perfect. No, it's not. Why it's not? Okay. I know why. Because I deleted the keyframes, I changed a lot of things, and we need to keep that keyframe at 60 maybe. Just delete that one at 30 first, and now delete the one at 60. Okay, and maybe now scale the whole thing a little bit up. Okay, maybe change this a little bit, and now it should be okay. Yeah, now we are okay. Okay, let's animate the splines again really fast here. Let's select those points, set a keyframe at 60 here, and then at 30 here. Scale it in a little bit, scale it here a little bit in. Okay, set a keyframe, and we're all ready to go. Okay, and now since we have created this first animation, we can easily create the second animation, the second ladder animation. Also, what you want to do is maybe go to the cloner object and change the time offset here, maybe to let's say 10 frames or something like that, to get rid of this little thing down here that always appears, or maybe just 1 frame. Let's look at the animation again. Okay, just add 1 frame to the time offset in the cloner object. That's perfect. Okay, so this is it. As you can see in the animation here in the video, they simply duplicated 1 letter, probably duplicated 1 letter, and then just scale it a little bit up, and they had and also the step effector used to be a little bit slower, so the things are not closing at the same time, but it's the same animation, and they just duplicated the whole thing, scale it up, and that's why you have those three rectangles, the white one, the green one, and here the pink one. And yeah, so you can do that if you like to, but it's not necessary. But if you do that, it's really necessary to keep low poly count, because otherwise this will really be too much for your PC probably. But okay, now we have animated the first letter. What we can do now is group the R. Let's name it R left and R right. Now we can group up those two objects, group object, maybe here another rename to R, and also the middle spline should be, okay, we can leave the middle spline where it is. Maybe change the step effector down here. Okay. So now we go to the front view again. Okay, made a little cut here. So we will start right here again in the front view, and we will create another spline. So create a circle, move it into place. Try to place it in the middle of the letter, and now simply increase the radius of the circle so it fits the middle. Okay, it looks pretty perfect. Now hit the C key and right mouse button, create point, left click, and we created another point. And now let's move this point a little bit in place. Okay, this looks okay to me. What we will do now is, first of all, before we duplicate this, we wanna add one frame. Select the cloner object, both cloner objects, and add one frame to the time right here. This is just because we wanna get rid of this little companion we have. If we don't do it, if I go back to null and we animate this again, we have this little guy over here, and that's not really cool because we also have this in the rendering. So we just set the time to one frame offset, and now it's gone. This is perfect. Okay, so let's duplicate by hitting Control left mouse button and drag and drop. Let's duplicate the R, maybe rename it to A, and also rename the rest here left. This is left A, and this is left right A. Okay, here we go. And now we want to select the spline ROPs and put in the new spline ROP we just created, the new spline we just created. Maybe rename this spline to maybe middle spline A. Okay, and maybe move it down here. Okay, this looks perfect. Also the A looks almost perfect. And as you can see, the animation is already working. So this is really perfect. And we can make another step effector. So let's duplicate the step effector, rename it to step A maybe. Step A here, select the cloner objects of the A letter, effectors, delete the step R effector and drop in the step A effector. And now we will decrease the step gap maybe to 2, maybe 1, let's keep it at 1. And also the time offset maybe to 120. So the A will take a little bit longer to complete. This is just perfect. Okay, this looks good. You can also, what you can do if you want to, you can also animate the splines for the A differently if you want to. Just go to frame 30 and just do some different stuff. Maybe increase this a little bit, or do whatever you want to. I will do it like that maybe. Okay. So now we have a little different animation here going on. And okay, we will do the same thing right now for the G and for the E letter. So maybe we also want to change a little bit the poly count before we duplicate this, because this really looks a little bit too much here. Maybe the rectangle a little bit more maximum length, and also here the rectangles, the number maybe a little bit more or less, maybe something like that. Does it still look okay? Yeah, it does. And also we have less polygons. Okay, so this is okay. This looks okay to me. Okay, next thing, we duplicate the no, we don't duplicate. Let's do the spline first. Let's do this whole thing with a BCR again, maybe. Control click right here, and then we try to put the points in the middle of the letter. So this looks okay to me. Here, here another one, and here another one. Okay, let's change it to B-spline. Okay, this looks almost okay. Let's change this a little bit upwards and a little bit here and here and here. Oh boy, this is so fun. This is so fun. Points moving every day, all day. There is nothing better than moving points around in Cinema 4D. Maybe create another point here. Okay, this looks a little bit weird now. And this is because of, I don't know. Okay. Maybe we zoom in a little bit. Okay, select those 2 points. Pull them down a little bit. Okay. This should be okay, at least I hope so. Okay. Here we go. So let's drop in this. Let's rename the spline to middle spline G. Okay, middle spline G, and duplicate the A right here, and we will rename that to G, and also left G and right G. I'm really just doing this for this tutorial. If I'm working alone, this whole stuff looks like a mess. Nothing is named or anything else. So I'm really doing this just for you guys. Right G. Okay, we select the spline rub and put in the middle spline G. Okay, this looks okay to me. Let's see the whole animation. Okay, this doesn't look too good right here. This is because of the spline. Let's select the spline and maybe delete this one point right here. This isn't maybe exact the G we want, but we can play around with the splines. We also could use something different like the B-spline, cubic. You could add more points and yeah, things like that. But I will just leave it like it is. It's okay for me, and it's okay for this tutorial purpose. So absolutely no problem here. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, this looks perfect. What we want to do is duplicate the step effector. Let's say this is now the step effector for the G. Select both cloner objects. We delete the A step effector, pull in the G, and we will give it a different step gap again. Maybe this time something really big, like maybe 6 or something. So just 3 parts that are spawning. Maybe not. Maybe 5. Maybe 4. Well, let's give it. Let's do 4, and also we will give it some different spline preset, so they spawn a little bit different. So let's do a cosinus. This looks maybe okay. So they are spawning in the middle first, and then on the top and on the bottom. And also we can do this for the A. We can also do a different spline animation right here. So let's do sinus maybe. It's also a little bit different animated than the R. Okay. And now we do a little time offset again for the G step effector from maybe 180. Okay, so this closes also a little bit later. Okay. Now we have one letter left. Okay, I just made another cut, so let's do the last letter, to the E. Let's go to the front view. Take a PCR spline, and we will just start setting the points, holding down the control key, left click. Now we'll start to set some points. As usual, we can change them later. So just clicking around here, here and here. Okay, let's change it to B-spline. Okay, this looks almost perfect. Okay. Okay. A little bit more. More. Upwards. Okay, this looks okay. Here a little bit more. Moving. Okay, this should be okay. This should be okay. We will have a little problem here because of the shape of the E and because we're using this font. We will have a little problem here probably with the polygons, but it will be okay. It will be okay for our animation. So let's duplicate the G, rename it to E, and also here left E and right E. Okay, here we go. Now we select the spline wrap object and pull in the new spline we created. Maybe we should rename this one as well, maybe to spline middle spline E. Middle spline E. Okay, and I'm not too happy. I think this is a little bit too big for the E, so we select our rectangles and we'll delete those keyframes right here we set before for the animation. So we select those, we delete those keyframes, no, not this one first. So here we go, we select this frame right here and delete it. Now we delete this one. Okay, and I will change the size a little bit, we will scale it down. So let's go to the object model mode, take the scale tool, and I will just simply, okay, this was not the right one, this is the right one. Okay, so we just scale it down a little bit. Okay, so it looks perfect, I think. Let's see the animation. Okay, this should be perfect, maybe a little smaller. Yeah, maybe even something like that. Okay. Doesn't matter if the letter is a little bit smaller than the other ones. Just gives it some different look. Like I said, this is because of the font and the shape of the E in this font, so you don't need to worry too much. If you use some other font, it might be better a little bit. Okay, this is really small now. Maybe we should just change it a little bit. Okay, something like that. It looks okay. Now we can also change the spline, the points a little bit, move them around just a little bit. Something like that maybe. And something like that. Okay, and something like that. This looks okay, I think. And here we go. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on here right now. The polygons keep changing. Okay, well, let's just keep it this way. It's okay. Okay. I don't want to play around with this whole thing anymore. So this doesn't look too good, but it's okay. We can also increase a little bit the subdivisions on the spline So we have a little bit of a smoother result, and also the rectangle, maybe the rectangles here, to get a smoother result in the end. And it looks okay to me. Still not perfect, but it's okay. It's okay, it's okay. What we need now is the spline animation again for this rectangle, for this letter, for the E letter. So we'll just simply do a keyframe on 60. Make sure that point level animation is still activated. And now we're just animating the points again here. Oh, okay, sorry, my fault. 60 is like that. Okay, and let's move to frame 30. And at frame 30 we will animate it a little bit, something like that. And set another keyframe, and this should work out pretty well. Okay. So now we will create another step effector for the E. So let's duplicate the G one, rename it step E, and select both clone objects of the E letter, delete the G step effector and add the E one. And now we will give it a different step gap, maybe something like, I don't know, maybe something like 9. No, this is way too much. Maybe something like, yeah, let's try it with null, and also change the spline here, spline preset, maybe, I don't know, root. Let's try root. So now it's spawning like that. Okay, that looks pretty good. This looks pretty okay, I think. Well, maybe not. Okay, maybe not root. Maybe let's take something else. Maybe inverse. Let's try the inverse. Yeah, that looks okay. That looks okay, I think. Okay. And also the time offset. Maybe we set the time offset to 240 right here. So it takes a little bit longer to animate. Okay, so this is our finished animation. I will take a little break right here, and then we will start texturing the whole thing. We will not really do a lot of texturing, but a little bit. You can optimize this with subdivisions and so on, if you like to, before we start with this whole thing. And yeah, talk to you in a minute.